Raw content can be boring and ineffective for the user experience, even if it's really fun to scrape. I love scraping the data for directories, but without images, it can be a little boring, especially if it is something that is textual by default, such as learning AI resources in my Vibe Builder's AI directory build. And it's not just images, sometimes it's a visual representation of data that we find in our scraping and enhancement process, such as visual elements and quality metrics. Without them, users can't quickly decide what's quality, what's mediocre, so they might just leave your site. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I enhance my scraped data with visual metrics that are created by data scores like sentiment analysis, and how to generate unique images for every listing in your directory without spending any extra money. First, I'll show you how I use an LLM to analyze content objectivity and audience sentiment to create a vibe score. Then I'll demonstrate my image generation workflow using Claude and Venice AI. And finally, I'll show you how to optimize those images with a script on your computer using Cursor to bring files from 2 megabytes down to just a couple hundred kilobytes, so you're not running through your bandwidth allowance. This is just a quick video today. It's a part of my greater directory build, which I'll eventually be turning into a full tutorial. So I hope this quick video helps inspire you to do some fun things with your data for your directory build. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to assume you have all your data scraped, like the initial data from whichever sources. In this video, my sources are GitHub, Coursera, YouTube, and I think Google. The important part is we want to prompt Claude or ChatGPT to be creative with the insights it can glean from the data. I first use Claude to say, hey, we need to write a prompt for creating the Python script that will analyze the data. So please write that prompt. And so then it made this big thing for me. And then I bring it into Cursor. I add some little technical bits like add Venice, use DeepSeek. But the real part here is making sure it knows we want to do the technical analysis and highlight the key patterns. How would you go about doing this? Then it'll come up with the plan, it'll write the script, and then you let it run. One thing that's really cool, it's actually calculating scores. Let's go through all of it. So for GitHub, successfully process the AI business assistant repository, analyze the README for technical depth, okay? It also gets the likes and the stars from the GitHub repository. Reddit post, processes the AI business automation post, analyze topic, sentiment, and technical depth. Coursera, it calculates the subjectivity and the positive sentiment. YouTube, it makes a quality score and engagement score based on all these metrics like the comments, the views, the like count. And then it identifies it as like, what kind of content is it? Is it subjective? Is it objective? Is it a tutorial? And then the Google results, we just searched, small business, AI, all these search terms, and we just found blah, blah, blah. Subjective content. Most of it kind of is like listicles. So that was all in the test. And now it's running the full one. If I show you the test, we can see here, this is the chat it made. See, it's using DeepSeek, and we even get the thinking from DeepSeek. That's kind of neat. So it calculates the polarity, the subjectivity, the content sentiment. It's kind of neat what you can do with data here, even if you don't know what you're going to do with it. So for example, on YouTube, it basically makes a score based on the engagement, the content itself, the technical analysis of the content, and then the comments. It has a different process it follows for each platform, for Reddit, Coursera, GitHub, Google, and YouTube. Here is a YouTube video. We have the YouTube ID, and it is taking a few comments. So in the analysis, we had DeepSeek create a quality score based on the engagement of the YouTube video, the subject matter of the content itself, the technical score, and the comment score, and then a rating from the comment. And then the sentiment overall, subjectivity, is it positive or negative? My favorite part at the end here is the vibe score. The vibe score is what's going to display on the website here for the results. And I've decided that this one on the left is going to be like the AI score, and the one on the right is going to be the community score. Like, what does the community think of this? So this can be both like a machine and community curated directory, at least for now. We'll see how it goes. And so then you'll also see the YouTube videos are going to use their thumbnail. So I did not generate an image for YouTube videos, although I might change my mind once we see how this looks when we populate our demo website. This is all using the test data. So if we go into the images now, we have the image file name and then the prompt that was used for the image. So the prompt was kind of funny. I'm going to show you the images in a second, but first I want to show you the prompt to see how we got here. So it was pretty simple to just tell Cursor, hey, use Claude to write a prompt that then is sent to Venice to generate an image. And the reason I used Venice for the image generation is to save money. And basically, with Venice, you can't put a system prompt in. So that was kind of something that affected the quality of the images that were generated. But the truth is, just by generating a few sample, like I think it was around 20 or 30 images just to test it all out. I used 750 using DALL-E 3. The image quality was better, and I could have used a system prompt. But 750, let's say for 30 images, 750 divided by 30, and I have 1,700 listings approximately, minus YouTube, let's say it's 1,500. That would have cost me $375 to generate those images using OpenAI. Instead, I just used Venice API. And as you can see, I spent $0. I just used my compute units, which I have 130 of approximately every day, because I'm staking their token. And so because I'm staking a certain amount of their tokens, I'm getting that percentage of the compute power. So it's pretty neat. I really like Venice AI, and I recommend you check it out if you want to do lots of data scraping projects. You're going to save money. I have a referral link that I would appreciate you use in the description. So anyway, I generated all these images and I saved, almost $400. Not to mention all the testing that goes into it to figure out what's the style of image you like. So here's the prompt I used. Claude created the prompt, and then Venice AI created the image, which I'll show you the specs for in a minute. But basically the prompt was, you're an expert at creating detailed image generation prompts. Create a high quality image generation prompt based on the following content. So then the script fed Claude the title, description, the content, and the keywords, all the relevant information from the data we scraped. So we feed all the important data from the JSON resource files into our prompt generator, and then create a prompt. And then here are the style guidelines. I put the color palette in there. I put the idea of the technological glow, depth, layers of digital elements where technology and humans coexist. And then all these different human elements and technological elements to rotate through, emotional tone, output format, diverse human like a lot, right? Quite a bit. Now the problem is, because this wasn't a system prompt, but rather just a prompt, I didn't prompt it well enough to say, hey, choose a random one. I just said, select what best fits the specific content. And that's where I kind of messed up. I should have said, choose a random one. Okay, so I showed you the prompt itself, but now let me show you the full script to see how the prompt was sent to Venice and then how it's used in our data. It starts with pulling in Venice API, which is the same as OpenAI. It just has a different base URL, which is this. And then it's going down and just saying, hey, we're going to generate an image prompt using Anthropic's Claude. And then that prompt for Claude is to say, hey, make a prompt, as we already discussed. And then it's going to send that prompt as a message to Venice. So it's going to use the Venice API here, send the API key, which is in the .env, with this payload. This payload has the prompt right here. We're saying which model we want, which I chose Fluently Excel. Negative prompt is probably the closest thing there is to system prompt on Venice. It's basically like, don't show any of this. Don't let any of this be part of the image. Blurry, low quality, unprofessional, etc. I chose the watercolor style preset. And if you go to Venice AI, you can see all these. We'll do it real quick. These are all our options. Oh, it looks like since I recorded this, there's Fluently Excel. It's retiring soon. They've got their own model now. And then over here, I can actually choose the image style I like, which, like I said, I chose watercolor. And there's the model. You can choose all the image settings. We obviously chose cinema. And you want to play around with all this stuff. Do you want to have a watermark? Do you want it to be not safe for work? Etc., etc. You can even choose a seed, which I did try to do, but it didn't turn out very well. I didn't like it. So we got the height and width here. We chose 25 steps, 7.5 CFG, 25 steps here, the number of iterations. Yeah, so you can kind of understand that. Format PNG. And in just a minute here, I'll show you how we convert that to JPEG and optimize it for the web. Hide the watermark. So that's what happens. The script sends all that to Venice, and then it creates the image, and then we just get it stored. So we get all these images here. So then what happens is it updates the original JSON file of the data, the scraped data, with the image file name and the prompt we use, which the prompt may not be that important, but I think it's good to have a record of it. We have it. And the image file name is going to go into our Supabase bucket later, which we're obviously going to need so we can reference the image and display it. So that is how the image generation script works. And now we have our images. And I'm going to scroll through for a bit so you can just kind of see if you recognize any patterns here. So we got a cool color scheme. We got an office space, like technological office space with monitors. We got some funky sci-fi ones too, which I like. And you just start to, I don't know where this came from. And you just start to see there's a lot of just like repetitive elements of the people on the screen, a window in the back, like that is almost the same image, just in like, it's like the same structure of the image. But yeah, you have like the two layers, the two like walls back there with screens, like the same like angle it shows. So it's kind of funny. But I think this is a good start. It's aesthetically pleasing. It matches our color scheme and vibe. So now what we're going to do is take all these images and first we're going to compress them. So to do that, I found this cool Python bulk image optimizer script. I haven't used it yet, but we're going to try it out. So I'm going to take that and I'm done with this cursor file, this cursor project. So basically this cursor project has all the scripts for scraping data, all the different ones, generating images, and it's really messy. It's definitely not where I'm going to be building the main project. In fact, that's going to be here in the actual website project, but I'm still going to need to create a new project for optimizing the images. I open the README. I got to install Pillow. Open up a terminal, pip install Pillow. Download the Python script, put all your images into the input directory. So here in the input directory, I am just going to select all the images here and I'm going to just drag them in. There they are. Images are in there. So original size 1.42 megabytes, compressed size 0.87 megabytes. So, oh wow, it's going fast here. So if I open this in the Finder here, I can see, yes, we're looking at, well, it's still not the best sizes here. I might run through it again. Is it changing the sizes? Sizes are the same. I feel like it could compress it a lot more. So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to delete what it's already created. This is all free, by the way. You don't need to use the service online. So let's go back into the script. Convert, yes. Let's convert to JPEG. And I'm going to say quality 55. All right, so let's run that again. Yes, convert to JPEG. Oh my gosh, look how fast that is. What? Okay, so now we're looking at, that's 77 kilobytes. And it's still 1280 by 720. Quality is fine. You can see it's a little... All right, I want it to be a little better than that. So let's stop it. All right, so output. I'm going to delete everything in the output folder. And I'm going to bring that up to 75. So let's do that again. All right, so input files are around 2 megabytes. And then the output, they're going to convert it to JPEG and compress it to 75. Let's change it to 95. All right. Run the script. What do we got? Okay. Yeah, this is fine. I think these are great. And the size is okay. We're not going to totally overload the server with that. That's much more compressed than I thought it was going to be. All right, so that's going. We got, look at all these images. It's already done 500, 63, 649. This is going to go fast. What a great script. All right, so shout out and the star to whoever made this. Carzam87, appreciate you, brother. And if, just in case you didn't catch it earlier, all of the videos here, all the resources have a link to an image. That's YouTube, but like this is podcast, so we made our own image. And that's called this podcast, blah, 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 .png. All right, we do have to change that to JPG because they're all JPEGs. And that won't be too hard. So we've got that there. We can exit this. And now I am going to make a new project, to be honest. I'm going to call it new text file. I got a new file here. I'm going to say I have JSON files for resources for a directory website. We need to write a Python script that renames file names in image URL, image file name, that changes the file name and image file name from PNG extension to JPG. Yeah. All right. And I'll say here's a sample. Attached is a sample JSON file. Yeah, that'll be enough for now. And then I just want to confirm, yeah, all the images are PNG. YouTube, they're already JPEG, so that's okay. Google results, yeah, that's JPEG. Great. So we'll let that write itself. All right, and now I just say run the script. Let's check it out now. Change it to JPEG. Change it to JPEG. Google results. Change it to JPEG. Wow, that was insanely fast. And then we just make sure JPEG. Okay, great. All right. So that's it, friends. I guess it wasn't as quick of a video as I thought it would be, but I hope you're inspired. We can get creative now and see what your directory needs to make it more visually enticing, maybe engaging, etc. Thanks for leaving some love on this video. If you found it valuable, if you have questions, let me know. Check out the links in the description. There's some free guides and boot camps and prompts and things to get yourself going, building on Cursor like I do in this video. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I'll see you in the next video. Keep building.